25-13. That's the scoreline of that Six Nations clash that saw the Scottish win the Calcutta Cup for the first time in 10 years, beating England. And Owen Gumane, good to see you, providing the Springboks a blueprint for that three-test series later in the year. But you've got to give it to Scotland. What a game. They were intense throughout the 80s.
Yeah, absolutely. I think our focus is always on Super Rugby, but I think it really stood out what happened in Murrayfield for Scotland. Brilliant win. And also just there was nothing glamorous about it. If anything, very clinical. They worked as a team. I thought the pack of fours were immense, especially without ball in hand. And that's when they did the bonuses, and a good win. I think for us, especially South Africans, for most of the time thinking England coming here in June, we were very much worried. Where do we stand? A new revamped Super Rugby setup, a new coaching structure. We're not too sure what's going on. Then we see a result like that, what happened on the weekend. All of a sudden, it's like, there's a glimmer of hope. If Scotland can do it at home, we can just do our research properly and make sure we're clinical, we can take England.
But like you say, it was a match that they completely ground out. Unbelievable in terms of intensity and defense and attack. Everything they did with intent, with intensity for 80 minutes. Defensively as well, the way they finished off, wonderful. But I think last week we spoke about lineouts.
No, well, last week we talked scrums, but what stood out this week was the lineout.
Yeah.
If anything, the only time England got a bit of joy was when they played off the top, but anything they wanted to drive, there was nothing. They gave them the option up front, and they manned up. You'll have a look. England can't really get that driving wall on the go. This is the best example we got. With that, they're only offering them channel one ball in the front four, and then you see what happens. They're driving England into the touch. There's the touch. Not too many options for them. The only option they gave them was in the front. When they played in the middle, England got a bit of go forward. They managed to get around, but Scotland was very aware. They made their tackles in centre field. Same story. Every time they slowed it down, every time they wanted to drive, England couldn't get going. Off the top,
yes, different story.
Yeah, but defensively, Scotland was solid up front. Not only the ball in hand, what stood out for me, Hugh Jones was strong, Peter Hahn was strong defensively. Not only the ball in hand, driving ball just never worked for England.
Yeah.
So, and I trust our South African pack. Regardless of who you pick, we'll definitely man up when it comes to making the hits and make sure stopping the
There's
ball.
Another strike move off the top, and immediately the Scottish defence in ones and twos. Hugh Jones, absolutely amazing. It actually bothers me a little bit that they didn't play everything in the second half off the top, because they seem to get a lot more out of it.
I've got to take you back here, Kola. I mean, if you ever look here, Scotland were thinking all the time, looking of ways of disrupting England. There they step away. They're not going to compete in the drive, only when it gets moving. So it was a pack of four that was all grey matter orientated. What do we do next? What's the best option? So brilliantly done from Townsend and his team.
Spoke about the defence. Scotland's defence, unbelievable in terms of intensity. England also didn't help themselves a lot. They were very narrow when they were having to defend. But in terms of Scottish defence and the big hits they put in,
don't mind. Well, I think the story we're going to tell you is Scotland and a chance for South Africa. What England got wrong on the day, it's one of those things. Still a very good, well-coached team, I must say. But another thing that was good, we touched about, I think some of the highlights for Scotland was their tries. I thought the fly half was outstanding. I thought his decision-making all the time. Russell, Finn Russell, every time he touched the ball, something special happened.
And it was amazing because Finn Russell was under quite a lot of pressure in the media, because on the first round, he really didn't have a great match. Here he's playing a little bit wider outside of the scrum half, but he puts in that little pass, little dink passes, little quick hands, and almost every time, and you see him, there he goes, something happens.
I mean, you're going to see that long pass out to Maitland as well. Brilliant little loop over the top pass. So when your turn is functional in the day, all is possible. Don't forget Hugh Jones. They played a bit of rugby in South Africa, and also I thought his centre partner did outstanding work. Peter Hahn, defensively, ball in hand, 2 tries against England. It was a day to remember for a long time.
It was, and this, the Scottish are saying, is the best individual performance in the Calcutta Cup in over 10 years. So well done to Hugh Jones. So what can we tell out of this result? In terms of the forward pack, it can't just be all about the grunt. It has to be a little bit of grey as well.
Yes, I'm correct with that, but also the breakdown point. If anything, I thought they worked hard on the breakdown point. They put pressure on England at the breakdown point. Didn't have that dead wall. They were not hitting coming through. And I think they never committed too many numbers at the breakdown point. When we started the show, I said the amount of work without ball in hand. They made sure they got players on their feet to make the tackles half the time. I think we'll have a look at some of the defensive efforts of Scotland and how they just never committed too many numbers when England was on the go.
It's one, maybe two guys tops, unless, yes, there was a bit of a double hit. But there you go, one guy. And they played two fetchers as well, Owen, winning quite a lot of turnover ball in that first half. Things changed somewhat in the second half, but you definitely need an out-and-out fetcher if you want to beat England, who play without one.
Absolutely. But also, I just want to show you as well, just a tackle's made and how many players immediately back on their feet. And that's the difference of a good team. A team that works brilliantly is a team that's without the ball. The hard yards, the extras come through when you don't have a ball. So they're there, they're on their feet, they're good to go. I mean, I'll take you back once again. The tackle is made. Look how many of the Scottish players are ready to make the tackles. They're ready, they want to play. They want to get going. Whatever you bring on, they're good. Look, have a look at that. Only one Scottish player. Yeah, there's just one. So they were clever on the day. And look at England has committed 1, 2, 3, 4 players at that breakdown point. So good thinking, not committing numbers at that breakdown. So for South Africa, set piece got to be solid with our ball, and also put pressure at source. Make sure you give them not too many options off the line out. And
don't forget the X factor as well, coming from Finn Russell. They fly half, two centres, who really showed great goal forward. We know they've got a wonderful fullback as well, Scotland. But it means that it has to be a whole team affair. You can't rely on the forwards alone. You do need a little bit of X factor in the backs.
X factor required. I think we've also got to go back to that test match rugby kind of format. Choose your moment when you want to attack with ball in hand. So we can't now going coast to coast thinking we're picking a new brand of rugby when we play England. We've got to choose our moments very cleverly. Looking forward to the June series.
Yes, man, Scotland. And tell us what you think about that result. Tell us what you think is going to happen with Scotland in the lead up to the World Cup as well. Because a performance like this, you'd have to start thinking maybe, just maybe, they could find themselves in a quarterfinal, potentially a semi-final. Who knows? Maybe we are getting ahead of ourselves. No, we got Italy. We're lucky.
Are we saying you're lucky?
Well, we got Italy.
Are you as good as your next game or your last game?
Well, let's not talk about the last one. Yeah, that thing is forgotten. Hashtag deny everything. Thanks for joining us. This was Talking Tactics.
Thanks.